Lamar prototype or Formula One race car of AR-15s. It is just ridiculous. It has no recoil whatsoever. Just doesn't exist. And then I also got behind this Saga 12 gauge semi-auto shotgun, which is built on a AK platform. It's as insane as it sounds, and it's as awesome as it sounds. So I'm looking forward to actually doing that and getting those videos out, and you guys can see what all the fuss is about. But good evening and welcome for joining me. How are all you guys doing? How have you been keeping up with this complete and utter ridiculousness of lockdown bullshittery? Hello, Brian. Brian, the third of Whiskey Friday, who is now arrived in the United Kingdom this morning. How are you settling in, Brian? Like, good to see you in the comment sections, mate. And we've got Whiskey Friday coming up on Friday. Whether or not Brian's going to, I presume Brian's going to join us. If he's online, he should be able to. So, I mean, he works for a company that can actually sort his stuff out for him, his internet connection. Good evening, Intensive Care Bear. Hello, Laurie. Nice to see you and everyone else. Yeah, so I just put a generic topic on tonight that we're going to be talking about firearm licensing and that sort of nonsense. But in fact, we can talk about anything you guys want to talk about. So the floor is open. So hello, Daniel. Hello, Stinoki, Werner. Yeah, Brian's a little bit jet lagged, a little bit. Hello, Mr. Totenkopf. Thank you for the hugs. Anton, good evening. You need to, Anton. You've got the same DFO as I technically have. So you just I got a hold of them yesterday. So you need to phone harder, Anton. But let's see if we can help you out with that. Jacques, good evening. Good to see you still hating the commies. Let me pop that up. It's always good to hear. Justin, Ty, good evening. And Mareike, goeienaand. Mejuffrou, Madam President. Yeah, I know. I'm getting old. My eyesight's terrible. Debs, good evening. And should you fetch the hat? Please do fetch the hat if you don't mind. So lots of stuff happened the past 2 weeks. Not all of it necessarily all that super positive, but yeah, I've just decided to put my hang on. Hello, Nick. I'm saying hello to everybody more than anything else. Jakkels, goeienaand. How about the storms at the DOP shops this afternoon? Yeah, that turned out to be a bit of a fake news debacle, wasn't it? Apparently, I heard the voice note doing circles, and yeah, no, look, there's no reason that they can't ban booze. They can ban booze and cigarettes anytime they want because they can take anything you have away at the stroke of a pen these days. So I'm not going to laugh at the panic buyers, but yeah, it's ridiculous. Jason, goeienaand en dankie en ek waardeer dit. I really do. I appreciate everybody who does tune in. Ahmed from Algeria, how is the inflation? It's not 50% here quite yet. It used to be between 4 and 6. I think. Don't ask me to make inflation predictions because there's a case now where there's a lot fewer money chasing a lot less goods. So we might actually have a bit of deflation due to the slaughter of our gross domestic product. Good evening, Herman and Yolanda and Beth. I always tell people, please subscribe to Beth's channel. It's she does awesome work and she's got awesome content. And Beth, I would love to have you on the stream again, or vice versa. Poulet, good evening, sir. And Rick and Bernard, excellent. So you got the confirmation you guys are allowed to shoot competition. Excellent. I'll actually pull in and come make my name Ars and do a competition with you guys. Good evening, sir, Mr. Seppi Tank. Thank you. I can also see how good you look with my lenses, you see. Probably a bottle store owner trying to spreading the rumor, trying to catch up on last lockdown as well. It bloody worked, I think. Yeah, I saw that. I saw Mr. Fearfokkel go on Twitter and elsewhere because of one incident in Pretoria where I can't quite glean what happened, but it sounds like some Toronto Metro Police cops' vehicles head-on collided with each other while pursuing a drunk driver. I thought they head-on collided with the actual drunk driver, but it doesn't matter. That's one person behaving like a dick, and now everyone's in a firing line. I guess finally this is how the rest of the world or the rest of the general public can finally feel what it feels like to be a gun owner. One person does something shit like Oscar Pistorius, and suddenly all of us are criminals who should get our guns taken away from us. So, you know what? People must also catch a wake up. Thank you. Thank you, Laurie, for the super chat. I appreciate it. Hang on. I need to catch up on you guys' comments. Yeah, okay. I also shot Caesar Shadow today. And Marika and Brian, you're going to have to put fingers in your ears. I get it now. I get why people like that handgun so much. I get I understand it now, and it is awesome. And I did love every moment I spent with it. Every second I spent with it was just bloody awesome. Of course, it helps that Bernard puts a Trigicon red dot on his shadow, which just makes everything even more interesting. Mr. Punisher, no, but I do know someone who knows his family, so I will find out. And if I'm allowed to publicize it, then I will. But last I heard, he was being operated on for a second time. But I mean, two chest shots, one that exited, and he still managed to draw, return fire, and actually take his attacker down. You know what? Even if you get shot twice, doesn't mean you're necessarily out of the fight. And that's just an awesome illustration of mindset leading. The guy really had it up here, like for a fact. Brian sent me a lot of desolate photos of how OR Tambo just looks like a graveyard, which it does. It's nightmarish. Whilst Doha and Heathrow are buzzing. Old tighted. So as I was walking in my Bloom hypermarket, security guard asked me to leave the shop because of your Bowie knife on your belt. I was not aware that that's a reason to ask someone to leave a store. That's a bit bullshit, isn't it? But I can well believe it. Okay, so that Hawaiian shirt is actually one I found on the internet. So Phil, who's the frontman of the metalcore band All That Remains, he ordered one and he put it on his Twitter. And I just saw this and I thought, oh gosh, the aesthetic of that was just amazing, absolutely amazing. So I need to find out where he got it and how. You know, obviously it's an American-based company, but I'm still curious. I would still like to find out if they would allow me to steal their pattern, because I've got a plan. I know, Daniel. I will check my WhatsApps. I'm terrible. Marika, don't pile in. I know I'm terrible with my WhatsApps. Thanks, Daniel. I will check my messages. Do we get Whiskey Friday back? Because yes, we do. I actually went away last Friday to try and support one of the local game lodges, and I'm pleased to report it was, one, a lot of fun, and two, it was pretty full. There were a lot of local people that went there. So that was just awesome to see that people are actually getting out there and supporting the guys. And hello, Nick, again. And Henry and Eleutheria and everybody. Hang on. Jason, where's Jason's comment gone? There we go. Jason, het jy gelees van die Carltonville self-defense skill op die plaas? Ja, dit was... Is dit diezelfde? And I mean, I presume it's the same one that happened on the farm outside of Potch, where I did a bit of a rant about yesterday. And the problem with it was, so the guy, it was clearly a hit because the farmer was a witness in a case against the guy who attacked him. And the guy attacked him with a SAPS service pistol that he robbed off a policeman. So that was always an interesting one. Yeah, Marika's jealous of this. Yeah, I finger banged that Bernard shadow so hard, if I can say that. It was just brilliant. Brian, it's because you're hard on guns. We both know you're hard on guns. Like, if anything is Brian proof, then it's robustly built. Oh God, yeah. All right. I will check my WhatsApp, Rick, and I'll find the Boogaloo pants that everyone's finding Boogaloo gear. Please buy my hoodies. I'd really appreciate, but everyone that has bought them, thank you. Really appreciate the support. The extra larges, 2XLs and 3XLs are inbound. I should have them hopefully within the next week. So thank you to everyone that has actually has supported the Paratus web store. You can indeed. There's nothing that prevents you from doing it. I mean, obviously, it'll be for 2 separate firearms, because you're not going to have 2 licenses for the same gun. That's not going to work. But there's nothing that stops you from doing that. Nick, it makes a savage comment because Brian had to leave his pews behind when he moved to the UK. Do I know what he was hit with? The good one. I presume it was standard PMP FMJ, the stuff that the SAPs are issued with. So that's what I would guess. I might be wrong. Sorry, guys. I'm just scrolling through the comment section because this is really more about me interacting with you than me just going on rambling rants for an hour. Oh, wait a second. There's a mass bike ride to Parliament. I just got Anton's comment. I'll find it. But thank you, Marika. I'll someone leave it up there as shameless shilling and marketing. Anton, there's a mass bike ride to Parliament on Saturday in protest of farmers. It is awesome. Okay, I'm glad that's happening. And if Sishley is going to be there, then I'm going to ask him if I can please tag along. By the way, don't listen to my WhatsApp. Lots of beautiful words. That's Anton. Oh, it's Anton probably telling me about his DFO. Anton, I'll someone give you a call tomorrow and you can use more of it. David, yes, I'm actually thinking of doing a buff for a bandana or something similar. I got a rescue dog, or we got a rescue dog yesterday. A little boxer crossed with a staffy, and the most awesome, cool dog. And I want to get him a bandana because I think a Paratus bandana would look pretty cool on him. So yes, okay, all right. But buffs are in. I'll make it happen. Geez, like Brian, thank you for that. Well, maybe. Okay, there's a lot of it. I'm going to concede this point. There's a lot of metalcore that's really, really borderline poppy that I don't like. I'm a fan of All That Remains. I quite like their lyrics and their music, and maybe 1 or 2 other metalcore bands, but Kill Switch Engage and that type of stuff. But the vast majority of them I give a skip because, admittedly, they are very poppy. They are. Let me just get... Good evening, Reginald from the Rodepoort. I hope it's a bit warmer by you than it is by me. From this Friday, it is 2 whiskey and cup of Earl Grey. Ironically enough, if they ban alcohol in this country again, then Brian will actually live in in nanny state UK, you're in a freer nation. How sad is that? Apparently, by the way, so Graham's got a friend on Facebook that didn't like Graham sharing his love for the Hawaiian shirt thing because their Hawaiian shirt is apparently a symbol of right-wing racist fascism or something. I don't even know how it I mean, it's an internet joke, but anyway, you always get these people who take it too seriously. And this was when I was a bit more lockdown depressed than I normally am, which was a few weeks ago, and I'm pretty lockdown depressed at the moment, but and I just let this guy have it, both barrels sent him ass because I had a sense of humor failure at his sense of humor failure. Has he recovered since, Graham? Has he ever spoken to you again? Because I was very ugly with him and I don't feel particularly proud of it. But, I mean, if he gets to throw a tantrum, so do I. I mean, that just sounds fair, right? The story about the Daor ammunition depot. I presume that's the story. Now, the Daor ammunition depot is if it's the same one I'm thinking about, is a long time coming. So they were, and I'll even find the article and I'll post it back up on the Paratus Facebook page. But there's no security basically at one of the major ammo depots, and I think it was in Daor. And people could basically just walk in and help themselves, and there were no guards really, and it was a complete disaster. And it wasn't being that the munitions weren't being stored properly. So there's this thing that it could, strictly speaking, cause a Beirut type explosion because of all the stuff that happened. And I'm like, yeah, there are a lot of ammo dumps and munition depots in this country. And I think if we had to know what poor condition they're in, our hairs would stand on end, quite literally. David Grobler, goeienaand, meneer. Brian's shameless plug. I appreciate everyone plugging my merchandise shamelessly. Thank you. Bernard, thanks. Yeah, and look, this is the thing. After finding out how badly animal charities got hit by COVID, well, not by COVID. I'm sounding like the government now. Got hit by lockdown. I thought, they really are struggling. If you can adopt, please do. But not everyone's in a position to adopt. And I mean, the amount of abandoned and neglected animals that people just can't care for anymore is also skyrocketed. So I'm kind of trying to make it a permanent thing to just remind people, say, look, if you can adopt, please do. But if there are other ways you can help as well. It doesn't necessarily cost money because people are tight on money as well. It's simple things like time and effort and a bit of help with fundraising and that sort of stuff. Just speak to your local animal charity. And if you can help, they will hugely appreciate it. And I mean, I got an awesome dog out of the deal, a really awesome dog. And that was cool, but I totally understand if people can't, because taking care of animals is a big responsibility and it does come with a price tag and people are tight right now, but there are ways and means of doing it. Okay, yes, we will. You're on, Brian. Challenge accepted. We'll make it happen. Mr. Hart isn't here this evening, is he? I do miss him. By the way, Drakensberg Lion Park, for those of you staying in the Cape Town surrounds, awesome, worth a visit. They're just off Klapmuts. It's a really good day out, and if you want to do a picnic or whatever, I can highly recommend it as an outing. But Pule, you can come fetch yours from me personally at CHS. I'm actually going to. So many people did, so I'm just going to leave a lot of stock at CHS guns for. If I'm not there, the Monday, Tuesdays, and Wednesdays, I'm not there, the people can still buy the stuff if they want to, and they don't have to spend money on the courier fees. I never called Defal. I never called you about the Centurion shooting. I'm so bloody sorry. We still have to do something about that, don't we? And you bought 3 hoodies and 2 caps. I know. I shipped them to you. Please. I'll go find your number and I'll call you. I have so many people I need to call and catch up with. It's been a crazy couple of weeks. By the way, okay, so you're hearing this from me first. I put together a document about license a person, register the firearm. I'm trying to get it through as many NGOs as possible because I don't want it to just come from the firearm community, but I want the proposal to also be as bulletproof as possible. So I'm getting other people to go through what I wrote. And I rewrote it about 2 to 3 times because I needed to tone the language down. I needed to zoom in, isolate the issue. It's got a lot of positive spin-offs. It doesn't require too many legislative changes. It is workable. It's sellable as is. And I want it to sell because it would be to the benefit of the entire country, gun owners, non-gun owners, cops, politicians, everybody. So it's just a matter of getting the proposal as good as humanly possible and then running with it as hard as possible. And that's where you guys are going to come in to help me because I'm going to need a big amount of public pressure behind it. And that's where the public comes in. They're scarce in South Africa because the agents aren't. I don't want to go and say the agents are particularly good, but there are problems with the agents and there's not reliable supply, unfortunately. Do I like Live or is it too popular? I was a huge fan of Live, still am. Throwing Copper and Distance to you are my 2 favorite albums. And they were one of my favorite bands from the very beginning, like the first band I seriously listened to and subsequently still am. So, we're going to have to sit down. Absolutely. Slayer and Pantera. I have a few of their albums. We can definitely, I think we're seeing eye to eye about this stuff. Definitely. David Boshoff, goeienaand, meneer. Good evening, sir. Yeah. Which address did you send it to, Magnus? Because I've got 3 email addresses and I'm terrible at all 3 of them. But if the one that I tend to try and answer is this one. So if you urgently need to get a hold of me, and this is now an audience exclusive, you can get a hold of me there. Hang on. Where did you guys go? Let's find the rest of your comments. Nanny State is already a freer nation. Now, that's pretty bloody sad, isn't it? If someone attacks a friend and tries to send him to Facebook hospital, then you send 6 of his Facebook friends to the morgue. Fair point. And Graham says, it was hilarious. Fuck that guy. Done was being nice to commies. Amen, sir. Amen. Anything anti-establishment gets labeled as right-wing, fascist, racist, or Nazi. Easiest way to demonize it in the public's mind. And that's exactly it. Have you ever noticed, like, when Jeremy had that weird lefty on his stream, Germ, on Germ Warfare, and he said, look, he is struggling to... He struggled with the guy. He didn't really enjoy the stream because the guy wouldn't have an opinion on anything. And my whole thing is, if you don't have convictions, if you're always playing to the crowd and you're just trying to... because you don't actually believe a word that's coming out of your own mouth, and you don't believe anything you stand for, then of course you're not going to have a strong opinion on it, and you don't want to defend it, and you're going to attack anyone else who disagrees with you because your opinion cannot stand for itself. It cannot withstand scrutiny on its own, and you need to actively push that opinion through threats of violence and force and burning cars down. And that's why Black Lives Matter is the huge issue. It is because at its core, the message is that black people shouldn't, well, it should be that black people shouldn't be arbitrarily executed by police officers who are trigger happy. But that's not the message, is it? We're not having a discussion about policing in America. We're not having a discussion about Peel and principles. We're not having a discussion about reconciling society's needs with policing needs or any of that. We are actually just going on multiple nights of rioting and looting, which is not what it's supposed to be about, because the idea cannot stand independently. And that was my rant. Sorry. Steve, good evening. And JCS, it was an absolute pleasure selling it to you, sir. And thank you for tuning in and being here. I'm going to try and do a lot more of these audience interaction streams. I've got a couple of cool guests hopefully lined up next week that we can talk to, because there's a whole bunch of other stuff that I'd like to get Mike Schussler and Magnus Haystack back to talk about the economy. But ultimately, if you'd like to talk to me about Bitcoin, because I bought a lot of it, it's extremely expensive now. Well, let me rephrase that. It's less expensive than buying Krugerrands. It's easier for the average person to buy than Krugerrands. And it's a very convenient way to hedge your savings against erosion of value of the rand and the government trying to steal it. Hichu, good evening. Quick one. I received my handgun license acceptance SMS 14 April. Up to now, I still have not received SMS to collect. Okay, so just check that your card hasn't perhaps arrived at your DFO. There is a effort through GOSA happening right now to get the government and the cops to recognize that stamp printouts from your DFO are sufficient proof of license, and that you can collect and carry with those license printouts until such time as the license card physically arrives. There seems to be good traction on that, and I'll keep you guys updated as I hear more, hopefully by Thursday night, because I'd like to do another stream on Thursday night and just see what else I can tell you. Let me just see what else you guys go. Yeah, it's quite sad. It's very sad. Okay, everyone wants to see the puppy. I'll see if he's going to jump my Paulie boy. Okay, he's actually kind of got his eyes closed and he's sleeping Marika. But I'll send you a picture. I'll post him on the thing. And it's an absolute pleasure, Manuel, and everyone else. Yeah, this is kind of, I can see how this happens, Mr. Helgout van Rensburg, that you start with one and then you end up with a whole pack of them just because that's the way it is. And yeah, I'm so happy to hear stories like this, Stefan. It makes me happy that there's a lot of people like this. There's quite a few. Thank you, Herman, for the forgiveness. Cheers, Brian. Hang on, whatchamacallit said something about my thank you, JCS, for the super chat. Your competency app went in yesterday. Now it's the wait. Yeah, and hopefully within 3 months you're sorted. You tell you what, okay, as Brian and I both talk shit about CZs. It's the support you get for CZ in this country is bloody good. You're not going to go wrong with it. And congratulations. Well done on getting that paperwork in. And now you're just going to get sucked into the lifestyle that is sport shooting and training and all the other good stuff. So it's too late now. We've got our claws. The community's got its claws into you now. Yeah, I've got a bit of a weird one. My favorite live song is actually Shit Town, believe it or not. There was just something about it that I really like, and I can't explain it. I did indeed. And the tweet that said, politicians, if we have licenses to own guns, politicians should have licenses to go into parliament. And it was actually Bernard's comment, and I just tweeted it. So I steal all my material from other people. That's none of it's me. All of it's stolen. But hey, if it works, it works, right? So another way people can help, a lot of rescue centers just want some weekend or once-off volunteers, like playing and socializing kittens, pups at centers, or taking big breeds huskies for a run. Brilliant. Great. I'm pretty sure anyone would have would love to do that. From what I've heard, no, but I don't think there's going to be much news on it. There's probably there will be some form of inquest, informal or formal. I'm betting on informal, and you probably won't read another word of it in the news ever again, as is the case with many of these defensive shootings. Licensed individual will definitely ease the admin. It'll make everything more transparent. And, there's this argument that, but the government won't bite it because it might, make jobs redundant. In fact, it won't. In fact, all that it will do is would mean that policing resources will actually get redirected to where they're needed most, which is fighting crime. And we don't have a shortage of a police budget, but we definitely have a shortage of resources. And that's thanks to incompetent management, mismanagement, and corruption, really, if we want to put too fine a point on it. Good evening, Lance. Soon. I'm hoping to get them. I ordered a whole whack of bigger hoodies, and they should be here within the next week. So I will keep everyone posted. I'm very excited. I've got a couple of other interesting projects on the apparel side and the non-apparel side also coming in. So I'll keep you guys posted as that develop. Oh my goodness, a P30. Dude, that's traumatic. That's a lovely handgun. Yeah, I would need therapy too. It's that actually hit me right there. God, that's tragic. Did you manage to put an application for it as well, just for a matter of interest? Because I see there has been a little bit of positive news. Is there have been quite a few approvals on the amnesty just before this one already, even though there's a whole bunch still outstanding, but they have approved. They have finalized and approved some licenses from the amnesty. So it's not all doom and gloom. Excellent choice. This is so nice for me to see is we've moved finally from 6 years ago where everyone was like, what's a great gun for my wife? And people go like, 38 Special snub nose revolver, and we all go, no, it's not. It's a terrible gun. It's not just a terrible gun for a woman. It's a terrible gun for anyone, unless you're using it as an ankle holster backup gun and you're Clint Smith. But well, not necessarily that you are Clint Smith, but I'm so glad that these single stack, slim frame, 9mm parabellum handguns are just becoming popular. It's great. Absolutely great. Please do pop me a mail, Magnus, and I'll go dig through my products.info address as well and go hunt it down too. At least you guys know you can always get a hold of me on my live streams and shit on me for not answering your messages. I'm totally open to that because I really do need it. I'm terrible with admin. I need a secretary and I can't afford one. Another rights I've picked up again due to later shooting news. I expect another BLM push onto us all. Oh, God. They really are. Like, my question, though, is, are the left and the Democrats trying to lose the election in November? Are they throwing it? Because, in the beginning, I was like, okay, this is a way to erode Donald Trump's support base by, I don't know, sowing chaos and confusion and dominating the narrative. But all that it's done is it's just made ordinary people hut full of chaos. And the only politician who's come out against chaos is basically him. So they're steel manning their opponent horribly. It's ridiculous. I'm trying to inspire my family to get me a Hawaiian t-shirt for boob reasons. Any advice how to convince them proper? Like Magnum PI, Tom Selleck, Jay. I don't know if that's a good sell, if they're going to buy into that sort of 80s aesthetic, but yeah, grow the mustache, get the Ferrari, and get the white shirt. Anyone that's got advice for Jay on how to convince his family to let him get that wine shirt, please, like, the floor's open. Give us suggestions. I'm curious. Yeah, it probably is worth waiting for it to drop. I always time these things very badly because my financial analysis is terrible, worse than my spelling. Good evening, Jeanette. It is Jeanette, I hope. Goeienaand, mevrou, goed om u te sien. My favorite YouTube channel regarding firearms and self-defense. So for fun, I really like Demolition Raj. I really enjoy In-Range TV and Forgotten Weapons. When it comes to self-defense and EDC stuff, I don't actually have a favorite channel pertaining to that really, because I get most of my self-defense and EDC related things locally from guys like Arno Barlow, Mark Iman, and just basically experimenting myself with what sort of setups work for me. But ultimately, everything I carry and the way I set up is, if I'm doing combatives and I'm going for speed, accuracy, creating space, distance, fighting with my gun, fighting without my gun, how I carry and what I choose to carry and how I set the entire business up must be ergonomic for me to be effective in that specific role, which is self-defense. That's a very long-winded way of saying it, but I think there is space maybe for a South African channel about this particular thing in our national context. And I should probably do a few more shows. But, well, of course I can tell you, there is one. It's not so much a YouTube channel, but they do podcasts and this sort of stuff. Weekend Warrior, Rowan Heiberg, and the other rough bastards. How can I forget? Okay, Rowan's also a fellow Paratus admin contributor. He's been with us since the beginning, 2014. So, Weekend Warrior. I feel like such a tit. Rowan, if you're watching this, I'm sorry for forgetting about your channel. Okay, so I can recommend Weekend Warrior. Great podcast for this type of stuff. Ja, Mareike, ons weet. Mareike is also the how to turn your money into bullion expert. So she knows the ins and outs. I feel it was a missed opportunity to call the Pap Trigger. Well, he came with a name. I was tempted to call him Heinz because he's about 57 varieties. But yeah, and I was going to be like, nah, I don't really know if I want to do that to the poor game. It is indeed, and it plummeted. The price went down considerably. This is also a thing, guys. Regardless of what any asset or stock or commodities price is doing, you never buy in with all your money in one go. You gradually buy in as on a trend. So you use a little bit of it and buy a little bit in, and then you wait for the price to move again. And when the price moves in a favorable direction, you buy in a little bit and it'll be a little bit. So you don't just take, 20,000 Rand, I'm buying Bitcoin at this price, boom, in. You will buy in slowly, bit by bit, just feed it in. But I'll do a whole, in fact, if any of you know your way around Bitcoin and you'd like to be on the stream and just talk about it, and we can talk about how you practically do it, then let me know and I'll gladly have you on and we can do this. Yeah, you were in it when it didn't cost an arm and a leg to mine cryptocurrency. Good evening, Dodgy Idealist. Awesome seeing you. Senpai has noticed. God, that made me cringe just saying that, but I had to. Ek weet ek's fokke ver agter, because the comments really, die hoodies in 3XL binne die volgende week. It's my fault that there's not enough of them, because I actually messed up. I ordered wrong quantities and sizes that are slightly too small, and to my horror I realized that I had to go dig money out I didn't have to order more, but it's fine because this is going to work. We teething problems, but I will supply, I promise. Sorry. What's it? I doth protest. I was told reloading would make it cheaper. Yeah, that's a lie, Steve. And you know exactly. I did try to warn you a couple of times. Glock, yeah. Those are the three. Those are the three brands that are well represented in this country for looking at buying any handgun: Glock, CZ, and Smith and Wesson. And I can now, in all honesty, say I like all three for different reasons and different applications, but I do like all three very much. What complications can use for using sports firearm in defensive situation? None really. So if you go look at every section of the Firearms Control Act, whether it says section 13, 14, 15, 16, and so on and so forth, at the bottom, it's either the very last or the second to last sentence says this firearm can be used for any legal purpose or, for any lawful purpose. So as long as you're not breaking the law with it, doesn't matter. And if you think about it rationally, if you use a kitchen knife defensively, whether or not the knife is licensed, for example, doesn't matter. It's what you did with the knife and how you conducted yourself in applying lethal force that ultimately determines the legality of it. It's the same thing if you end up in a struggle with an armed assailant and you grab his gun from him and he attacks you and you shoot him and he dies. You are not going to be charged with using an unlicensed firearm to defend yourself. You're going to be like, okay, you defended yourself with a firearm that you took off your attacker. It's not your gun. It's not licensed to you. It's not your property, but that's not relevant to the case at hand. So I think I understand why people overcomplicate the issue a little bit, but ultimately there is no difference. There have been many cases where I remember two specifically where people defended themselves with hunting rifles, believe it or not, and that was never point of it was never contended, or there was not a point of contention as to what license they had for those. Imagine the ease of licensing the individual instead of the gun. It would just make everything better. It would streamline everything. It would make it easier to administrate. It would make it more transparent. I know, Yaku. I know. I got a few people telling me that the arms are a bit short. Look, they do stretch out after a while, but that's not really good enough for me. So I have let the manufacturers know that if I could please just look into at least doing something, because mostly when they're new and your hoodie fits you normally, the sleeve ends about there. Now, with wearing it, it kind of slips forward and becomes longer, which is great. But ultimately, if it's brand new, you also want it to fit properly. So, but please keep me posted with regards to those of you that have this problem, if it does stretch out satisfactory, or if I must really get on top of it and get the sleeves that 2 to 3 centimeters or 4 centimeters longer. And Mr. Dodger Dealist, I entirely agree. That's exactly it. 6.35 star EDC. I've seen people carry similar. And ultimately, David, if it's working for you, is there a specific reason why you're carrying the star? Do you have better options? I would always recommend people go look at a modern 9mm for several reasons. One, ease of maintenance. 2, availability of accessories. And 3, the common availability of the ammunition, the thermal ballistics of the ammunition, the fact that it's easy to train with. And it is something that you are going to train with. If those aren't really concerns for you or not things you can address at present, then yes. As long as you're proficient with your star, it's something. And mindset is more important than equipment. Mindset and skill set via training is more important than the type of equipment you have. Although, the equipment is important, but I mean, there are people there that carry what they can. They don't have other options. So I'm definitely not a snob about these sorts of things. No. I do not have the math skills or the attention focus to be an engineer. I used to be an airline pilot once upon a time, previous life. And I have a degree in economics, which is entirely useless to me right now, completely. No, I can't afford Mareka I think Manuel was talking to Mareka. You see, I can't see in the comments if anyone's talking to anyone else, which is annoying because then I just respond to people who didn't actually ask me anything. It's a bit embarrassing. I I honestly don't know. I don't think there is. I don't think we have a blade limitation. There's something in the Dangerous Weapons Act, but that doesn't really pertain to carrying guns. I mean, carrying knives, as far as I'm aware, normally. But look, ultimately, you're going to be restricted with what would make sense in practical terms to carry on your person. I mean, there are people that carry pangas around, but for legitimate reasons. So I don't think there's any way that they'd legislate against blade length. They might. I'm talking under severe correction, and if I'm talking shit, please tell me. Hang on. What did Dodger Dealer say about purple being his dominant color in a Hawaiian shirt? Yes, I agree. Magnum PI had a Strelitz. He had a Strelitzia in his front yard. I never knew this. I'm going to have to go watch reruns of Magnum PI now to see if this is truly the case. If you're just bullshitting me, Graham. It's Stefan wanted to buy the wife a Glock 43. She preferred the old 75 Pre-B, so it looks like a new carry gun on my list. Yeah, that's how these things start. You start with one gun, and then they just grow more guns. Thank you for Carry Trainer. I'll actually go take a look at them, Ty. I appreciate the suggestion. Yeah, Bernard did. And his kid is doing great, by the way. Potential future Springbok shooter. Well, not the animal, but the national colors. Good going. Just keep at it. If you're watching, sir, keep at it. If you shave 10 seconds off a 59-second run is ridiculous. I can't shave 10 seconds off anything. So that's great growth. She equips herself. Excellent. Even better. Big problem with a lot of YouTube self-defense EDC character channels are US orientated, which leads to advice which is not applicable and bad for SA. This is unfortunately true. There's not. It depends from state to state as well. So some YouTube channels are even bad advice for people living in other states. So yeah, excellent, Robert. Okay, I'm breathing a bit better now, and I'm hoping it's the case as well, sir. So I'll keep my fingers crossed. Please keep me posted. I'm always curious to how these things go. And if you don't mind me asking, whereabouts did you reapply for? If like roughly which city? I'm just trying to think. Just scrolling through the comments. EDC for the EDG. I've heard good things. I haven't actually watched the channel, but that's not because I don't like the channel. It's just I don't. And this is going to sound really bizarre because I am on YouTube, but I don't watch an awful lot of YouTube. I'm a bit of a. I'm not in touch with the kids anymore, Beth. But I'll go take a look. I will definitely go take a look. Mareike 24 now taking applications for personal secretary. Okay, we'll talk, ma'am, because I might just have to give you all my like passwords and you can just forward me the important things that I can answer to because I'm really actually struggling with my admin and that's all me, nobody else. Okay, so there is no limit on blade length apparently, which is good to hear. So I didn't talk complete nonsense. Just see who else is saying things. It's my pleasure, sir. I have a Rossi 30 special snubs route I'd like to keep. How do I justify getting a Glock 19? Well, you have other sections, I believe. Section 15 you can license under, or Section 16. I've got 4 handguns, 1 license Section 13 and 3 license Section 16. So it is definitely doable. But you could also license it occasional sports Section 15. So what is your Rossi license as? I presume it's self-defense. Gentle inflatables. I'm gonna give up trying to bring you your cap. I'm just gonna courier it to you because I'm not getting to Table View side where you live, and I've owed it to you for nearly 3 weeks because you won your competition. So I'll still have your address. Don't worry. I'm just gonna make it happen. Hang on a second here. Everyone's talking about Luno. Luno is easy. I use Valor, VALR. I just found the transaction costs to be a bit lower, but it's really neither here nor there. It's all they're all good. My scissors came in handy in the car when someone tried to hijack as robots. I need to hear this story if you don't mind sharing. I mean, you don't have to go into gory details, but if the details are gory, then please do. There we go. Alchoft already answered the question, also section 15. And the cool thing about it is you don't want to lie on your application. So if you're going to license it for sport, do participate in sport with the gun. The cool thing with sports is, and it comes down to the fact that sports do practice your fundamentals. It's not going to practice your fighting. So sports and fighting aren't the same thing, but that's not the point. So sports are great at cementing and practicing and exercising your speed and your accuracy. Okay, speed, accuracy, and ability to think while shooting. And these are all good things. So definitely license for sport and shoot with sport, and you'll be amazed at how your overall proficiency just will increase. Fantastic. I'm glad to hear that. I'm going to catch his old man too. Oh, okay. Yeah, JC is also going to, and Bernard are going to have a bit of a rivalry, I see, at Falls Bay Sports Shooting Club. Good. I'm going to try and get in on that just for fun. Once I got licensed a person, right, we're going to push for legalizing miniguns. Absolutely. Now, if Mareka were president, that would already be the case. But to be honest, I think if you can afford to feed a minigun, you should be legally allowed to own it, right? I mean, how many people are going to be able to do that anyway? So I think it would be the stupidest thing in the world is to prohibit civilians from owning miniguns because, gosh darn it, I don't think I can afford one, but I would love to. I'm willing to just go to Vegas for that alone, nothing else. Fly in, shoot a minigun, and leave. If someone said to me I'm allowed to go to Las Vegas and do only one thing, I think I would do that. Graham doesn't have the attention for engineering, becomes a pilot. Well, we've got autopilot, bro, and we've got another person sitting next to us, and we get coffee brought to us. The thing with pilots are we never grow up. You know this, right? That's why we don't have real jobs and real careers. I'm kidding. We actually do take it very seriously. It's not like I can get fired anymore for making jokes like this, but still. Oh, okay. I was actually doing because you said your admin is bad, like an engineer's admin. No, but I know engineers, and their admin is apparently awful. I'm speaking out under correction, but that's what engineers tell me. So, yeah. I do need, but at this rate, that's the closest I'm going to come to flying anything. So I might as well at some point. There we go. No specified knife length. Come down to context and intent. Awesome stuff. Please do, Yaku. Send me an email with your measurements, and then we can make it happen. Just scrolling through. It's not just the YouTube channels, man. Magnum Magazine gets review articles from the US, and lots of people buy Taurus based on the great reviews that are not applicable. Yeah. Look, I very seldom steer people away from gun brands. And it's not a case that Taurus is rubbish. It's just a case some Taurus. What would be the plural of Taurus? Tauruses, Taurai, are decent, and then others are a lot less decent. And the problem in South Africa is, like in the US, if you buy a lemon or a not good gun, it's not a major problem replacing it. You don't even need to sell it. You can just leave it in the safe and buy another one, and it's not an issue. But in South Africa, it's a whole licensing process. You have to be a lot more astute in your decision that you make with regards to what firearm you buy and license, because the process is so admin and resource intensive and it takes so long. So if you buy a lemon or a badly designed gun that just doesn't work for you, it's a problem. It's an issue. So, yeah, it's a very valid point, Rick. A very, very, very valid point. Jay, for shits and giggles, I took my younger sister to the gun shop and she found the Ruger EC9 better over the 43 for grip and trigger reasons. Ruger is supporting the country that make fantastic guns. They do actually. I think they're overlooked because, and maybe I'm being unfair by saying this, but we kind of tend to stick to the big three all the time, and it's always Glock, Smith & Wesson, CZ, Glock, Smith & Wesson, CZ. I own two Heckler and Koch handguns. Love them. Two USP9s. Absolutely love them. I would love to be in a position to recommend people own them. I would love to add a P2000 and a P30 to my collection. It's just a matter of they're incredibly expensive due to the fact that Germany does. They're already expensive before the German export ban hit us. But you get them now, and they come from Germany, just not directly. So by the time they land here, they're expensive. And getting spares for them is also not the easiest or cheapest exercise. So I tend to overlook them. Ruger is not the same problem. Ruger is actually well supported. For some reason, it's just not as prolific. And I cannot explain to you why, Jay. I actually don't know. If you've got any theories or hypotheses, let me know, please, because I'm as curious as you are. Yeah, she will. There's no doubt about that. Thank you for your patience, Miss Inflatables. I appreciate it. Yes, do not forget your lawnmower freedom photos. Send them to Mareka before Whiskey Friday. Mareka, in fact, put that up again on the Facebook group, please, if you don't mind, just to remind people to send their submissions to you, because they've literally got 3 days. So, yeah. Good evening, Vorstier, and I'm glad you went to the gym. Like, awesome stuff. I'm glad people are going back to the gyms and trying to normalize a bit. I'm not back in the gym yet. I'm trying to get back to the dojo, which is about as good as it's going to get at the moment. But at this stage, I'm still working out at home. How is it to be in the gym with all the bullshit? Which, are you at a franchise gym or at like a normal private gym? And how did you find it? I'm curious. Absolute pleasure shooting with you today, Bernard. Thank you so much. And like the footage came out beautifully, by the way. And I'm just going to let everyone else drool over your Cobalt Kinetic, which is it's not just the Star Wars guns, guys. It's art. It's the pinnacle of AR-15 engineering, and it shoots like it is, for a fact. Goeienaand, Heini. Welkom. Would it be possible to register a quality homemade firearm? In theory, yes, but you'd have to be licensed as a firearm manufacturer, and there's a whole bunch of process to do it. And if you're licensed as a manufacturer, you can manufacture, and then you could, strictly speaking, then license your own product to you. But because we live in South Africa, which is not a free country, I don't know if going through that effort is actually even remotely worth it. That's the sad part. Okay, so it is true. So engineers are terrible at admin. So people didn't lie to me. I feel so much fucking better now. Okay, cool. So yes, any admin is not work related is a mess. I agree. Clarissa, are you Ramon's assistant? Please. Okay, it's hazardous if you're going to send me an email, because I might not respond at the current rate things are going. But please do send me an email, and yeah, and I'll take whatever help I can get at this stage. We have to hit Vegas for some future January AVN awards and short. Indeed, sir. Indeed. Tibbs. I really have to shoot a minigun. I can't afford a Z, but man, the thing looks string. It does, doesn't it? There's a certain part of childlike happiness that tickles in me. I think that might be the one thing, Bernard, that ups your Cobalt Kinetic for me is getting behind a minigun. So if you want to do something really impressive, get one of those licensed if you can. Is there a valid green license? If I applied for a second farm, will I be forced to get a new license for my current farm? Yes, you will. No. You won't be forced to get for your current. Your current will just take up an existing slot. They usually make that one take up the Section 13 slot. So you'd have 3 slots left out of 4 on Section 15. And then all your DSS Section 16 slots are wide open. So no. But you will have to obviously do competency before you're allowed to apply for your new one. But yeah, go for it. I can highly recommend getting at least one more gun, if not several. If 2 attackers start advancing an attack against you, the one by the first attacker is armed with a knife. Now, if you take out the first attacker who is unarmed, will you be in cuck? To be honest, this is one of those things that will get judged on the merits of the event. There have been cases that I'm fully aware of where there were 2 assailants. The front one was not armed, but was also part of the attack, and the one behind the one in front was armed either with that gun or with a knife. And funny enough, the front assailant got shot and killed, and the back one was either wounded or got away. And in all the cases I've heard of, it never was an issue. Now, that doesn't mean, that's not a blanket thing, but there's no truth to the fact that you're going to be in shit either. Like I said, there's a lot of nuance to this. And I've never heard of anyone in these very specific situations, and it does happen. It has happened that the person got into shit for it. So I'm tempted to say no, but bear in mind, all defensive situations are context dependent. Thank you for the super chat, Lance. Really appreciate it. What firearm, not too much recoil, would I recommend for a female with small hands? So I'm going to do a quick disclaimer. My hands are tiny. Okay. They're small. I've got short fingers. Okay. For me, I do okay with double stack frames that are like Glock 19 HK frames, but in not all cases do I get And the thing that people look past is not the fact that the frame's big, it's the fact that it interferes with your ability to manipulate the trigger properly. So it fucks with everything else. With single stacks, that problem doesn't exist. And I've seen women with small hands just love single stacks. So I wouldn't recommend anything as a defensive gun under 9mm Parabellum. And I also wouldn't recommend anyone, unless you've got the money to finance 40 Smith & Wesson and 45 ACP to train and practice with it regularly. 9mm is kind of the gold standard in SA as it comes to, defensive calibers. I'd say something like a Smith & Wesson Shield, maybe even an M&P 9 Compact. The Glock 43X is awesome. The normal 43 is great. The 43X with a slightly longer grip is really awesome. I would look at all these options, and there are several others that you can explore as well. Whereabouts are you, Lance, located? Maybe I can recommend someone at a dealership for you to talk to, and they can help you in the right direction, because that's kind of what it's all about. So maybe we need to get behind Taurus to stick it to the overlords to change the laws and get creative. That's playing 4D chess, Yaku. But yeah, I can see what where you're going with that. Okay, you don't have a mo. You got a goat. Well, ride the goat and send me a picture. And God, that sounded dirtier than I intended. The wife, to get a feel for Glock 43X on Saturday, she ended up choosing the 19. That's interesting. That's usually not the direction it goes in, but awesome. And I've seen a lot of these types of success stories. I never get tired of hearing them. So well done, Magnus, and well done to your missus. Great bloody work. Ruger has the same problem as SIG. They switch agents in South Africa more often than DZ can change her Koptuka. Once a brand had a bad agent, the bad rep sticks, unfortunately. Also have no idea who the current agents are. And that is kind of the sad thing, is it poisons the well a little bit. And even though the guns are good, if you don't have this, if the reputation of the previous agents are bad, it does stick with the brand. It's an awesome gun, Tibbs. It really is. And I'm sorry that as an HK owner, I can identify with your pain. I do. That's pretty much why I brought a Glock 19 eventually. 2 of them, actually. Okay, Clarissa, thank you for your cell number. I'm not going to put it on the screen and broadcast it to the world, but I will I'm going to take a screenshot of it, and we shall talk. Hang on, doof. Okay, there you go. Rocker, I'm so envious of American gun owners. They have all the nice things you see on YouTube. Yeah, and you can times it by about 25, the recommended retail price, by the time it gets here, and that's what you're going to pay. Unless you know a guy who knows a guy, in which case you might get it for a bit less. Thank you. You understand me. Okay, let's see what else you guys have said as we wind this evening down. But I'm gonna be back with you on Thursday night, just you and me in the live stream, and then Whiskey Friday. And then you guys can just bring, if you have any questions, if I don't answer my emails, this is also a great session, and I'm going to do more of these where you can just bring your questions to me and I'll try and answer, and I'll try and get answers, and I can find out stuff and come back to you if I don't know, because Believe it or not, I'm a bit of a moron and I'm not a sage and I don't know everything, but I will try my level best not to bullshit you. I promise. Thank you so much. I think they're pretty adorable too. I like my tiny little toddler hands. Vredenburg. Okay. I don't know any dealers in Vredenburg, but if you ever happen to find yourself in Somerset West, please pop in and at CHS Guns and Ammo, and I'll get Aziza to work her magic on your missus with regards to the gun stuff. Rocco, thank you so much. I really appreciate the super chat, and I will definitely do my best to keep up the good work. And please bring your friends if they want to find out about gun stuff, and if they just want to talk gun stuff, I'll do my best to give them good info. Big corn bites or fritos? I'm a big corn bites person, solidly. Nothing against fritos, but I've always loved big corn bites. They're not as red as they used to be anymore, the tomato ones. I specifically love the tomato flavored ones, but they still taste pretty damn good. Gosh darn it, you caught me out, Dodgy. Bestiality is illegal though, last time I checked, right? Vintage Hawaiian shirts have been my traditional dress code on New Year's Eve for a very long time. You can find classic vintage ones at second stores in the USA, maybe online. Robert, we're going to have to look into this because you can find ones like at Mr. Price here, actually, but they're not the same. They really aren't. Blowback, where can you go for training? I've contacted some clubs during lockdown, but no response. Okay, they may have been a bit closed, but Dreschko, just to confirm, is this for proficiency training or do you already have your competency and licenses and stuff? I'm just trying to figure out what type of training you're looking for, and maybe I can make some recommendations. I'll just stay and wait for your response before I start winding down a little bit. Okay, someone says, where to Stellenbosch for trading handgun? Any recommendations? Handgun training. Okay, so with regards to actual training, Mark Hemman does a lot of good work in the Cape. He's mostly at Falls Bayside, but he is coming across to Somerset West and Stellenbosch a bit more regularly. He's a really good guy when it comes to handgun fundamentals and that sort of stuff, and combatives. But alternatively, Nick, come find me at CHS Guns. Let's talk. And I'm not a instructor. I know my way a little bit around a handgun. I'm not entirely useless. And yeah, come chat to me, and I'll do my best to give you some decent info. Bighorn Bites, the one with the honey. I've never had the honey one. I don't know how yum that can be. Bianca fucking NDZ. I'll tell you what. I'm going to go for Bianca van Wyk because she did not take my smokes and my alcohol away. And that's literally the only reason. Mr. Brian Sitole, goeienaand, good evening, sir. How are you? And how is your Roni treating you? Have you put some rounds down range with her yet? Damn it. Okay, I just lost everything. Okay, beginner. So there are some pretty good training institutions in the northern burbs, but I think it might be easier for you to just head straight into the City Bowl. I don't think is it the N7? And City Guns have a proficiency training school. They're in the City Bowl. They're good, and I can recommend using them for the proficiency training. So just give City Guns a call. If you don't come right with them, like I said, I'm doing the stream again on Thursday night, and we've got Whiskey Friday night at 8 p.m. and I'll do some more streams, possibly even over the weekend. So then you can just maybe let me know if you struggle, and I can try and make other recommendations. Please say hi to my girlfriend. Oh, Brian, I'm terrible with names. Is it Stembile? Please tell me it's Stembile. And good evening, Stembile, Brian's girlfriend. And thank you for allowing him to tune in to my show. And thank you for watching my show. And pull in and join in the discussion. If you've got questions about Brian's love of guns and my love of guns and how guns work, I'd love to answer them. because this is what it's all about. What to do with a rifle you got as inheritance? Okay, so if it's still part of the estate, I presume. It's an estate firearm. There are certain things you need to do, and I'll actually have a proper discussion on a live stream with people who do this stuff. But it's not a big deal to get an estate firearm license, but you need to find the executor, who I hope is still alive. Otherwise, you have to go find the executor's executor and then take it from there, I think. But it's a bit of a paperwork exercise, but not a problem. You can license it straight out of the estate. You do not need to do, you really don't need to do any additional, get it on anyone else's dealer stock, anything like that. Okay, so don't know what to buy. Trishka, if you would like to come out to Somerset West and physically visit CHS Guns, I know it's a mood of a drive. I have some stuff I can show you, Aziza can show you, and I can try and give you the best advice as to how to make that ergonomic to your lifestyle. But there's an article on Paratus, which paratus.info, my website, about owning a gun for women. It's at the top of the website. There's actually a banner that scrolls, and on one of them is deciding what firearm to buy for women. It's written by a woman for women, and I can recommend that, definitely reading it. Where in the Stellenbosch area would I recommend doing proficiency? I would definitely recommend doing all four in one go. I believe Legally Armed in Stellenbosch does proficiency training. I think I'm speaking under correction. They are your closest service provider. So yeah, I would start with Legally Armed. They're good people. And if you don't come right, Francois, please let me know, and I can try and get you some more info. I will gladly say hello to Chris Marie, your girlfriend. She's very shy to post a comment on my stream. Well, please don't be shy. I don't bite, and like I tell everyone, I appreciate every comment and every interaction, because this is kind of what it's about. And on that bombshell, folks, I'm back here again Thursday night at 8 p.m. And it would be, if any of you've got any issues about any of the information I gave, please come back to me and I'll do my level best to get more information for you, so we can go on this journey to get as many people legally, responsibly armed, proficient, trained, and make them awesome armed citizens. And Doreen, now Doreen is an absolute poster lady for legally armed women. Highly competent, highly competitive, highly acclaimed sports shooter. Definitely someone that I would gladly put up top tier for this thing. So Doreen, thank you for tuning in. I always appreciate you and Eugene popping in on my streams and saying hi. And yeah, if anyone wants to know how to be a good female sports shooter, speak to Doreen. Thank you, Mad Thang. Appreciate the compliment, and Verman and Werner and everyone else. And have a wonderful evening, guys. I think I'm going to call it. We're now been hour 10 minutes deep. It was great having you. It was great having this discussion. See you all again soon. Thank you for all the support. Again, just a shout out to the animal charities that need everyone's help. If you can't adopt, there are other ways to help that doesn't necessarily involve money. Thank you for the super sticker, Sean. Appreciate it. And you guys are okay. Hang on. I've got a couple more questions. Okay, Section 13 is self-defense. The license is valid for 5 years, and Section 15 is occasional sport, which is valid for 10 years. Obviously, the fundamental difference between the two licenses, the reasons you're motivating for ownership is different. So self-defense, you'll motivate, you need it for self-defense, and you'll motivate why. And occasional sport is exactly it. Bernard, I'm going to be editing the videos I took today, and I'm hoping to have them up by the weekend with some awesome editing done on it, maybe some cool music and all sorts of stuff. So yeah, and that's it, guys, ladies, gentlemen, others. Thank you for tuning in. Have a safe evening. Stay safe. See you soon. And thank you